Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. Today, I've been thinking, and I was reading some information out there, and there is a company, Colossal, I think their name is, and they're doing the Jurassic Park thing. What if that's a thing we do? What if we go down that road? What if we start resurrecting old animals? Well, that seems like a fun thing to talk about, so let's do that. Apparently, this company, they have created what they are calling a direwolf. And they're doing this with genetic material that they have found from old direwolves, a long extinct species. And I'm not sure that they have a goal with this particular species, but it is astonishing that they have recreated something along the lines of this animal, or they've created this animal with DNA that's so much from it that even though it's a hybrid, even though it's spliced with modern DNA, I mean, we're talking about what they did in Jurassic Park, like very seriously. It is like Jurassic Park used, I think it was dinosaur and frog DNA to fill in gaps. They used like some kind of other wolf, like gray wolf DNA, and they combined the two using as much as the dire wolf as they could, I guess, and they've got an animal that. Now let's be clear. This isn't necessarily a 100% genetically accurate dire wolf, but it is a brand new creation. It's a new species. There's no species out there that has genetics like this, because we've bred, or not bred, like bred would be using the mating process to do that, but we have created this animal. This is designer pet creation or designer animal creation now. And what do we do with that? What's the morality of that? What should we do with that? Should we control and regulate this? Should we just let people do it? What are the consequences? What are the benefits? I guess we'll just get into that. I don't know. It seems like this whole notion of playing God to me. It seems like we're entering an area where we can now do as we want with life forms. And this question may not be as new as we want it to be. Consider the entire dog species. That is a species that man long ago started doing things with wolves. Those wolves were selectively paired and bred intentionally so that traits that were desirable would be maximized and traits that were undesirable would be minimized. And what really is the difference in doing that genetically versus through an actual mating process? Is that really so unnatural, or is it really so different? And I don't know. I don't, like everything, I don't have the answers. I just got a lot of questions. Like, this isn't the first thing that, like, this may be the first time that they've recreated something that was this genetically close to an old thing, but it's not the first thing this company's done, or companies like it. I'm not sure it was this company, but there are woolly mice out there now. I said that right, mice that have woolly hair. So they figured out how to gene splice woolly mammoth traits onto mice. And first, let me say, you should go look this up. They are the most adorable mice that anybody has ever seen anywhere. They look cuddly, and they're mice. How does a rodent look cuddly? It's crazy, but it exists. It's real. It's out there. Somebody's done this. And is that okay? Should we do that? What are the consequences to doing that? are we going to turn this into like a theme park like Jurassic Park? Or are we going to do something different with it? Like, what if we have, let's say, we know we have endangered species out there, right? We got rhinos out there. And part of the problem, I think, is hunting, of course. The stealing of the horns, the ivory trade. But part of the problem is their reproductive habits. Now, one question is well, what role does the rhino serve in its environment? And two, will it harm the environment if rhinos actually go extinct? And part of the problem to this is it's not always obvious what the answer to this question is, because how much is it really going to affect anything with a rhino? Like a rhino, I mean, I think they're plant eaters. If they're just plant eaters, what are they doing? They're consuming resources and they're being food for other animals. Well, I don't know. Rhinos, they're big, they're thick skins, and they have a really interesting weapon to defend themselves with. Although we saw them all off in the wild so that they don't get poached. So, I don't know, is that causing rhinos to die faster because we're trying to save them, but it makes them, we save them, we make them to where they're not a target for humans, which is the apex predator, right? We are the apex predator of the world. We pretty much do what the hell we want. We want to hunt a whale, we go hunt a whale. There's nothing too big for us to go after. So theoretically, we'd be the biggest threat to it. So making that an undesirable target by removing its horn, that's what we've done. It makes sense to a certain degree, but does that mean it can't defend itself? Does that mean it's falling prey to some of the really dangerous animals that it has to reside with? I mean, the African landscape is full of all kinds of things that just ready to hunt and would love to take down a big feasty meal. But I don't know if anything hunts the rhino. But if it does, that's a food source. If it doesn't, then I don't know. Does the rhino have enough of a role to be worth saving? Well, what if we could fix the problems with the rhino? What if we could modify the reproduction cycle to where reproduction was something that was easier for them or more successful or didn't take as long? What if the gestation period could be advanced by splicing in other genes? And then you could have a rhino spliced with something that has a rapid gestation period. And would that solve the problem? Like, this is some of the problems with like elephants. I think elephants have like some 2-year gestation period. And I wonder, I mean, I don't know enough about rhinos. I just started bullshitting about an animal that I don't really know anything about. So that's kind of dumb. But would we be able to just do something about the reproduction of rhinos, create a bunch of things that have a more reasonable set of skills to survive in the environment so that the extinction that they face becomes less of a problem? Then can we release that and call that good? And what if we go too far? What if we accelerate their reproduction cycle and give them genes to where it increases things like twins, like multiple births, or anything that animals do would be our limit, because couldn't we find out where in the genes those instructions lie and give that to another animal? I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of reasonable compatibility issue, but Is it really far-fetched to think we could literally splice in anything we want on any animal we want with maybe some degree of exceptions or some degree of limitation where, I mean, maybe we can learn to make a sphinx. I mean, it's very interesting that we have things like the sphinx in history. I mean, is it possible? Would it be possible to change enough genes in a dog to where its skull develops like a human's? Would it be possible to alter a cat to have its head and brain grow to human size? Would it be possible to modify humans to routinely have litters of 9 or 10 infants? Is somebody going to try? God, this is all frightening stuff. And man, do I have a problem with it being in the hands of the mankind that I see out there today. We do things with reckless disregard for what's going on. We want to be the first. We want to be the best. We want to be the only. We want to crush the competition. We want to... Our ambition is a terrifying thing. And what's going to happen if we blindly charge in to just creating animals or recreating animals or replicating animals? What if we start choosing that we want to like, I guess it gets so much more frightening, because what's going to stop somebody from creating mosquitoes that are toxic? And all you got to do is hatch a bunch of toxic mosquitoes, and all of a sudden everybody around is coming down with mysterious illness. I mean, there's genuinely terrifying questions at the end of this. But even if we stop short of the truly terrifying, even if we stop short of assuming that we're going to do the worst, which I think would be a foolish move, I don't think we're going to stop short. We're going to go until we break something, or until we realize that there's no more hope of going forward. And if there's one thing about mankind that I think I understand, it's that we kind of don't really give up on big ideas. This whole space travel thing, we've been at it since we first were able to get out to space, and we're not letting up. We're sending more and more out there. We need to know more and more about what's out there. And who knows what questions are going to be answered with that. And it goes both ways, even into the oceans. We had people that, with tremendous resources, go down in a little tiny, itty bitty, cheap, handmade submarine from a company that nobody in their right mind should have trusted if they had any idea what the hell this company was doing. It is wild to me that company got away with that. It's just wild to me with what was going on with the whole Ocean Gate thing, right? The whole submersible that collapsed. But we're humans, and we're going to push those boundaries. We're going to try harder. We're going to do more. We're going to try to be the best. And so what are we going to do? Are we going to really try to make a Jurassic Park? I think, why wouldn't they? Wouldn't you want to go see that? If we could actually get up and go see the dinosaurs. I mean, that'd be cool. But man, they break containment? What happens then? I mean, Jurassic Park had some wonderful examples of what could go wrong. They start reproducing even though they thought they controlled for reproduction. They escape things. They have intelligence beyond our comprehension. Like, we don't, like, how are we going to know what their behaviors are? The literal facts that we have about dinosaurs are fossilized bones, and that's about it. And so what? We can tell certain things that, okay, maybe this was a carnivore because carnivores have teeth like this and herbivores have teeth like this, and we can look at the wear patterns of teeth to tell omnivores, even though they might have teeth slanted one way or the other. And we could tell that by wear patterns, like just like when we die and like somebody digs up our body in like whatever time frame, if our teeth are still there, they're gonna be able to look at that and go, this person ate a lot of hard stocked items, or this person ate a lot of meat, or like they'll be able to tell that because of the way that teeth wear. But we don't know anything about them. Like in Jurassic Park, for example, they had all their assumptions, and they made the movie based on what our assumptions are, because we don't actually have dinosaur behavior to look at. And ever since Jurassic Park came out, there's been this huge debate as to what raptors even are. Like, some people today think like our updated information is that raptors may actually have been feathered animals. The movies portrayed them as pack animals, and I don't know that our understanding has followed that tracking. But what if we bring something back that we think is something, and when we get it, we don't really understand what we have until we've got a real problem like King Kong Godzilla situation on our hands. I'm not saying we're going to have King Kong or Godzilla, but what if, I mean, we don't know what we're up against. We don't know what their flesh was like. I mean, there's reason to think that maybe they were feathered, a lot of dinosaurs. They may have been reptilian. Like, we aren't fully sure on these. And bringing them back and just having a new park of them is just, that's going to be wild and fascinating. And it's going to have completely unexpected ecological ramifications. Like, what's going to happen? Okay, let's say they find a remote island. Well, they start putting this there. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to get rid of all of the life that's there. If it's a remote island, it probably has its own unique species, and introducing a bunch of extinct species is just going to screw with that. That seems like a terrible plan. I mean, even how much is it going to be screwed with? Even if we build a zoo that is isolated, like, just like when we build, I mean, I guess we build cities, we kick all the critters out of wherever we build cities, and the critters got to go to the end, and we call anything that comes into town nuisances or whatever. We have animal control to deal with like wild animals in cities, and I'm not saying that's a good thing either, but it is, you know. And should we create a real life Jurassic Park? Should we try to, you know, like I was talking earlier, like try to replace rhinos that are going extinct? Should we bring back the dodo for no other reason than we can? I don't know. It seems to me that this notion of playing God is something that we as people do. And I'm not saying we should. I think we're going to. I don't really think my opinion matters on what the ethics of it are. I don't think my reservations on it are useful. I simply think that people are going to go forward with this, and I don't know what's going to stop them, because how do you stop somebody from creating animals in a lab and then just driving them out and letting them go in the forest to see what happens? How do you stop that? I mean, you can make it illegal, but that doesn't stop it. It's illegal to have, I mean, fentanyl's illegal. We still got a ton of it everywhere killing people. Illegal doesn't stop the problem. Illegal just curbs it for the people that care about the law. And that's it. And if you care more about your ambitions, if you care more about a place in history, even if it's an infamous one because you created Jurassic Park that ended the world, like, people are just looking for their place. So I think it's coming. I think some weird things are going to start happening with this. I think the other thing that this is going to lead to is, I think it's going to lead to a combination of designer pets and a weird attempt at resurrecting pets. Because this company claims that they can actually do this with a process that comes from blood, and that didn't always used to be the case. We used to need certain kind of cells to be able to work with any of the space level, but it looks like they've devised a way to extract from blood everything that they need, like the stem cells and everything that they need to actually create a basis for this. And with that, then it kind of means that, well, if good old Spot starts dying, well, you just take his blood before he starts dying, and you have the blood stored in what they call a cell line. And that cell line then can be used in pretty much any way we need to use it. We can convert this cell line into pretty much any kind of cell we want, I guess. And it's getting the cell line out of the blood that I guess is new or something. I don't know. I don't know the genetic details. I'm doing my best to understand it myself, I guess. But if it's as simple as drawing blood from your pet and paying a sum of money, well, we've all seen especially rich people and their pets, like those rich people with the little pets, man. That is like their child. They'll take your head off quicker over messing with their pet than over their child. Like it's wild. And you tell me that there are rich people out there that won't pay nearly any price to have their same dog over and over instead of the normal 10-15 year lifespan. And what's that going to do to people is like, and I guess we'll figure it out when we start doing it. We'll start understanding what the ramifications are. Will the pet have the same personality? Will we be able to manage getting the identical look right? Will it actually be a true identical clone, or is it going to be something different? And maybe if it's different, like maybe that'd be disappointing. Like then it's just a new dog, and I don't know that that's that enticing to people. But if we can look at the DNA and we can copy that, and that can play into a large part of personalities and all of that, we've got a tool that's just uber refined for what we've used breeding for. We've been breeding traits into animals, like smaller and smaller pets, so that we can just have smaller and smaller dogs, so that they're just not big, so they don't require so many resources and all of these things. And we've caused a lot of health problems to these smaller breeds by doing that, by hyper-focusing on that. And so these breeds have shorter lives. They have a lot of health problems, like pugs and chihuahuas are notoriously unhealthy animals. And is that ethical to do? Is it ethical to create an animal that has those kind of health risks? I mean, it would be like breeding people, like it would be like taking all of the people who have genetic deformities and saying, all right, you guys go breed together and all of your problems will concentrate because there's this one thing that you all have that we actually want more than you not being prone to illness. And it's wild. But look, they're adorable, right? Chihuahuas are fucking the little yippy adorable dogs. I mean, I don't want one. I don't want it yipping at me all day, but like, they are little tiny adorable dogs. There's a reason we all fell in love with the Taco Bell dog, right? Like, because it was just fucking hilarious. This little tiny cutest shit dog. Pugs and pugs are an interesting one. Pugs, like, either people love pugs or they hate pugs. I think it's just funny that they look like they ran into the wall or somebody opened a door like in a cartoon and gave them the flat face smack, you know. That's funny to me, but they have health problems. They're known for arthritis. They're known for lung and heart issues, among other things. I think heart issues in Chihuahuas is a thing. And that's the problem, right? Small dogs and heart issues is a thing, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's just those two breeds. I think there are a lot of small dogs that really struggle in the heart department. But is it? Or maybe we could fix those problems. Maybe we can look at a pug and go, hey, look, here's the reason these are the problems. Let's, do a little gene splicing here. More or less, the pug stays the same for the most part, and we remove these health issues. I don't know. Maybe it would be good for that reason. Maybe it would fix some of the unethical things we've done with breeding. Anyway, I don't want to go on forever on the subject. I just think it's interesting. I think it's fascinating to think about. I think it's fascinating to think about what we should do as a society, if we should regulate it, if we should limit it, or if we should just let it happen and it is what it is. Before I let this go, I do want to offer one final thought about all of this. Like the whole playing God thing. People seem to be up in arms over the concept of playing God or changing things. The idea of natural versus man-made or natural versus artificial. And we kind of only categorize artificial as something that man does, but we aren't the only species that changes our environment, right? Beavers are out there. They're changing their environment. They actually build dams. They try to change how the water flows for their own purposes. They also seem to clear trees as a deliberate thing to actually, like, I don't know if they build stuff, but they seem to have patterns to how they or reasons to why they will take down some trees. And so we're not the only species that modifies our environment. But I also want to challenge the notion of, if you're the kind of person that thinks that something's unnatural because we're doing it, we're as natural as anything else. Uh, we got here just by the same chances and stroke of luck that every other species got here. We came up through that, and we're a random fluke. So is it really even possible for anything we do to not be natural? And is it, I don't want to, like, look, I think climate change is important, and I think if we want to remain as a species, we have to take that seriously. But what about the first portions of life, when this was a rocky world with no growth and there wasn't any life yet? There probably wasn't any atmosphere. And so we started with some minerals getting together, somehow organizing into life, and somehow changing the entire planet, because we went from no atmosphere to atmosphere. We went from no life to life. We went from nothing swimming in the oceans to, photosynthesis capable plankton. And that's where most of our oxygen came from, was these plankton in the ocean, processing the gases that are saturated in the ocean, that are dissolved in the ocean. And they changed the planet to something that was never changed before, and we just call that natural. If we destroy the planet and all the atmosphere goes away, okay, maybe we can kill all life, or kill a huge portion of life, or at least reorder the entire way life goes. But I don't think anything we're going to do is going to destroy life. And I'm not even convinced that anything we could do could be seen as unnatural, except for the fact that we knowingly kill ourselves. I'm not too aware of any animals that do that. Anyway, with that, I think that's about the last of my thoughts. Glad you're here. This was a kind of nice, fun conversation. And until next time, be well.